What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to Grizz 901, your number one Memphis Grizzlies post-game show. And I promise you, it's not even close. The Grizzlies are coming off of a 114 to 110 loss to the Los Angeles Clippers. It was a game of back and forth, and it was really a game that a lot of the stars showed out. There were some big rebounding numbers that were put up, especially from Edie and Zubac. And so all around, it was a good game. This Clippers team is not a bad team at all. And they showed that literally their best player who played, a decent game, James Harden, took over late in the fourth quarter. So we're going to get into all of that and much more. But we're going to start as we always do. Nate is here. We're going to start off with him as we break down the game. I have another good Grizz trivia for you. And then the last thing is we'll kind of do a little bit of look ahead. It's on me. Ryan sent in the video or whatever, the audio. I didn't have time today because it is a lot of the holidays. Been traveling a lot all day. I was raking leaves, for God's sake. Give me a break. My back needs a break. But let's go ahead and get to the show. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
It is a good place to have a drink tonight.
What up, Nate, man? How are you? Sitting by the fire, all looking relaxed. And honestly, I can't see very well, but it is what it is. The scene is amazing. I love it.
The scenery is all that matters. I had to do the best I could with where I was, so I figure I make the most of my surroundings.
Yep. No, I like it. But obviously, the Grizzlies do lose the game 114 to 110, as I said. But just kind of off the top rope, your thoughts. I know that you're on the road, and I barely had a chance to really dive in and watch the game as I normally do, but I watched a good bit of it. Were you able to watch it? If so, anything off the top?
Yeah. Don't tell any of the cops on I-40, but I was able to watch it a little bit. I really didn't get to watch much until the fourth quarter, but from what I saw, it was highly competitive, but also like hyper inefficient.
Yeah.
On both sides, except for really small stretches. Grizzlies missed a ton of free throws in the second half. I wasn't able to watch the third quarter much. I was able to listen to it. I didn't see anything in the first half at all. So I was at a Christmas event. Sorry, I'm a terrible fan. But I didn't get to watch the first half at all. Third quarter, I listened. It sounded like the Grizzlies were missing a ton of free throws and bunnies.
Yeah.
Seemed like it was inefficient. Like Jaren's missing a lot of shots that he would normally make. When I saw in the fourth quarter, you just saw a lot of things not go the way, but it was because the Clippers were forcing them to earn it. I thought the Grizzlies forced the Clippers to earn most of what they did as well. That was a good back and forth from what I saw. I think Grizzlies win it 9 times out of 10 just based off what I saw in the second half, but they didn't tonight. The Clippers outperformed them in the bunch.
Absolutely, and that's what it comes down to is missed opportunities. The Grizzlies, 19 turnovers, and the points conceded off of the turnovers, right? It was 31 points. So they gave up 31 points. And then the turnovers for the Clippers were 17. They only gave up 17 points on the 17 turnovers. That's your difference right there, right? You can talk about rebounding. You can talk about late game mismanagement. It's all about like turning the ball over at the worst possible times and giving them a run out. You can't have that. And that's what really I saw. That was a lot of the issues tonight overall. But in all honesty, like, Ja did not look like he was the same dude tonight. He ended up with 23, 6, and 4 just overall. So 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. But he looked like he was just kind of like meh. And he's done a lot of that lately, and I don't understand just in general. But as Kip Gordon said, Grizzlies got punked tonight. I don't know if it's as punked, but I will say that they look like the worst team overall. And look at this. Wayno. Dude, I love our chat. I love the crew so much. So thank you for that. Wayno with a big they're called super stickers, right? Like I'm not an idiot, right?
I have no idea. You are an idiot, but you might be right about
that. I think it's a super sticker. Shout out to Wayno with a $32 Merry Christmas. So shout out to you, man. This I'm telling you, every little bit does definitely help. So appreciate that. I know we'll we'll go. Maybe we'll buy a bottle on that one just for fun, because it is Christmas time. But yeah. So shout out to you, Wayno, for sure. And I don't know. Do you celebrate real quick? Do you celebrate Christmas over in Australia? Do they celebrate Christmas? Do you know?
First off, you said celibate. You said celibate like you celibate.
You celebrate.
Listen, the Australians in the news lately, celibacy is definitely not a thing. So from what I've seen,
Yeah.
but I would assume that people are celebrating Christmas in Australia. Not everyone.
No, yeah, we'll figure it out, whatever. But yeah, let's go. It's a super chat. There you go, Art. Look at Art. Art always helping us out, man. Well, I'm doing better than much better than the New Orleans Saints are right now. My God, they're getting blitzed 27-0. If you're watching that, dude, shout out to you because it's a tough watch for sure. And so even Kenny's coming through here. Look at this. All right, so let's get back to the game real quick. Yeah, fireside chats with Nate. But Ja overall, he's the engine that makes this thing go, right? And so when he looks out of it, there's other guys that step up, but it looks like he's not like we need a little bit more out of him for sure.
Well, two things. One, he's a little beat up. You know, I mean, the back thing is not something that is just like gone, right? And most people that we work with, most people I'm assuming that watch these games played sports at some level. Just because you're off the injury report doesn't mean that you're not in pain. So that's a thing, right? And he twisted the ankle a little bit. So part of it's that he's not going to be 100% when he's not 100%. Another part of that, Josh clearly trying to make sure he's healthy for a playoff run this year.
Gotcha.
He's not going to kill himself night in and night out like he has in the past, right? Which can be frustrating as a fan because you can say, hey, we want to see a full 48 for a full 82.
Yeah.
But realistically, if you have a guy who's had an injury history, you'd much rather him just be ready to go full bore in the playoffs. I think he is prepping for that. This team is on a mission, and they're clearly going in the right direction to achieve that. Number 3, there's 4 points to this. We're on number 3.
God. Shit, we already got through 2. I didn't realize it.
If you're going to love number 4, it's going to be worth it.
All right, here we go.
Number 3, that's a game that typically Ja doesn't have to go full bore to win. Jaren missed a ton of shots he normally would miss. They missed a bunch of free throws. There's a ton of reasons the Grizzlies should have won that game despite all the numbers and stuff we just talked about that they normally would.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to go full bore. He knows it for this team to win. Number 4, I got 3 separate texts talking about how terrible the officials were tonight, and I've seen it in the chat already. I didn't see it this game, so this is not from me. I have nothing bad to say about this officiating crew other than the fact they're an officiating crew. But I heard that the officiating was pretty awful tonight. Like, the calls were inconsistent. You couldn't figure out what way it was going to go, and guys would get brushed and get a foul call, and guys would get absolutely hammered and not get a foul call. So was that the case?
I didn't see an issue tonight overall. I'm going to look at the numbers on the fouls real quick. Sorry, I didn't. That's one of the things I did not write down. So the fouls.
I did see that.
So the free throws were 26-26. They were even, and so I don't think that's a problem. Like I know that's the numbers on the stats of it, but I didn't see it being an issue in general. And so the officials always suck. They always have issues, right? So I don't think that there's anything that stuck out to me into the way of, hey, this completely influenced the game in this direction. So and as Skip saying, Jaren did get mugged 100%. Jaren always gets mugged. Like at this point, like when do we expect that Jaren's going to get a call? Because he has never gotten calls. So that's just normal to me, just in general, in my opinion.
It's hilarious that he shoots, and what he shoots 9-10 free throws tonight, and that's half of what he probably should have shot. You know, it gets pretty brutal. But I mean, I was going to say it's number 4 because I've heard it. And usually if someone else is telling me that, it's pretty bad. I'm usually the one telling other people that. So, but I didn't see it, so I don't know. But the other 3 points still stand. Right? Ja's a little hurt, and he wants to be healthy for the playoffs.
So the first 3 points are still good. 4th one, it's hit or miss, right? So I like it.
4th one's good. matters every night. Because everybody's talking about NBA ratings are bad. Just look at the officiating. That's like point number one, how the game's officiated.
If you talk about something enough, because I heard this, if you talk about something enough times, is it eventually just like the thing everybody's now talking about? So if you just keep talking about it, it just brings light to it. So like, isn't there a point like if you like the NBA as it is, shouldn't you just like not talk about how bad it is or how bad everybody thinks it is or how down the numbers are? And well, that's my opinion, my soapbox. I'll get off of it real quick, but yeah, that's I hate talking about like everybody wants to bring it up and talk about it, and then like, but
Yeah,
we
me too.
like it. So quit. So we should just shut up, quit talking about it, and just enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. I think the NBA is in a good spot. I just think that the refs are an issue. I think that overall the product is a good product. So anyway, don't want to spend enough time on that. All right, let's get back to the game real quick. So the Grizzlies started off just overall 30-28 in the first quarter, 28-23, right? So they had a decent lead at half. And then the third quarter getting beat 40-32, right? Not ideal. And then 23-20 in that last. And so there was a 7-0 run by James Harden at that point. And I know you saw the fourth quarter. That was the biggest part of the James Harden run. What do you think their issues were down the stretch? Other than I know Josh said a good majority of it, but like what do you think the Grizzlies' issues down the stretch overall were? Because it just seems like there was no flow to anything that they were doing.
I mean, I think at a certain point you got to give credit to the Clippers.
Okay.
The Clippers just played really good half-court defense on them. They did a good job of swarming, but also they rotated really well. That's reason the Grizzlies have hit a ton of threes lately is because teams have done boxes and elbows and swarmed them in the paint, but it's led to a bunch of really good open threes. Grizzlies didn't get that tonight, and there's always someone closing out even the open ones. If it was open, the door was closing fast. So I think the Clippers did a ton of really, really good rotations and adjustments on defense. And the other part of it was the Grizzlies just kind of didn't know what they wanted to go to.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It feels like it turns into a lot of one-on-one defense at the end, right? It's like it does turn in or offense. I'm sorry, it turns into get it to your best players, let them go get a bucket, which is sort of what you want when you have players to the caliber of Ja and Jaren and Des for that matter. But it's like, man, why don't we ever set any high screens and let Ja just get going off of that anymore, right? It feels like they don't do that as much. I could be wrong. The feel of the games that they don't go to that as much, and that's like, man, that's won you games, right? Like, why not get to it? So,
yeah. Well, let me go down through some of these because I think it's important to kind of talk through a lot of the issues just in general. And I know there's some key points. I'm going to hit on these because this leads into my topic. The Grizzlies shot 21 of 55, 38% in the paint. This is from Marco Colbert. That is the biggest issue, right? The Grizzlies were outscored in the paint. The Grizzlies are the best paint scoring team in the entire league, and they were outscored 62-42 tonight, which is the biggest thing, right? And I know you had Zubac that went off for a 20 points, 20 rebounds. You can't be outscored at your best quality, right? And at that point, but then if you look at they even though the Zubac had a great game overall, they out rebounded 56-54. So it evened itself out. 80 had a decent night with 14 rebounds. Your steals were down. You only had 8 compared to their 14. We talked about the turnovers already. Fast break points, 12 to their 26. So if you think about this, and this is to my bigger point, and as Lloyd Gross is saying, bad loss, bad offense, and Kenny is turnovers and points lost the game. That's where it comes to.
Loss. I just disagree that it's a bad loss. Like every loss feels like a bad loss when you're a team as good as Memphis is, right? Like every loss is preventable. If they play their best, they can beat any team out there.
Yep.
But so
I agree with that.
Loss.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I'm not worried about this loss at all in general, in my opinion. And real quick, and to Alexander Guerrero, thank you for joining us. If you're on Twitter, I love that you're on Twitter watching this, but if you want to, please join us over on YouTube. There's a lot more of you, and the comments that you're seeing pop it up on the screen. Those are from other people that are in our YouTube. So our YouTube OGs, our fan base is much bigger over there. So if you can't join us, I get it. But if for some reason you can, go over to Bluff City Media and just go to the live. You'll see the first thing that pops up. We're going to be on the live tab if you can't find it right away. But that's to everybody. But if you are here, go ahead and drop the comment or drop the chat. Hit the like if you don't mind. It helps us out. I'm telling you, if we can get 14 likes within a certain small period of time, I'm telling you, it boosts the algorithm for whatever reason. I don't know, but that is the truth. So do me a favor, at least 14 of you, hit it with some likes real quick so we can boost the algorithm and kind of blow the show up as we always do. It is the holiday season, right? You ain't gonna pay for that. But going to back to what we were talking about, it was the turnovers. It was a little bit of bad play just in general. But this team, like when they get slowed down, and this is what I've always said from day one about this offense, when they get slowed down, which you take away the second chance points, which they did, and you force the Grizzlies into a half court team, they're going to be fine, but they're not going to be the same team. They're not going to be able to run up and down and just kind of flex on you as they normally want to. And so that's what the Clippers did tonight. And shout out to them. They had a defensive scheme to say, hey, we need to get back, stop the penetration, stop ball. And then when you get to the paint, we shot the worst we've ever shot in the paint. Is that to their credit? Yes, but it also is, it's a bad shooting night. So overall, they did what they wanted to do on the defensive end, and you limit the Grizzlies to 110 points overall. That's a good night for you, for sure.
Yeah, and I thought they did really good scheme wise. I mean, Ty Lue's an incredible coach, right? Like that's part of it as well. You can hate Taylor as much as you want to hate Taylor. We're never going to hate him that much. You can love Taylor as much as you want to love Taylor, and the coaching advantage goes to the Clippers 100 times out of 100, right? That's how that goes. But I thought the Clippers did a lot really well tonight. I thought they're out of timeouts. Ty Lue put him in a tough spot, taking his last timeout with 34 seconds left instead of holding on to it because he wanted to put the Grizzlies on their heels, right? He's like, we're going to get a bucket now and put ourselves in a driver's seat for the rest of this game, which I thought was really smart. But I do want to emphasize, like, it's not to anybody. Everybody feels bad after a loss. I'm sitting there, and my dad's making fun of me the entire time I'm watching the fourth quarter. So I'm like, make a free throw. What are you doing? That kind of thing. But truth is, it's 1 out of 82. It's against a good team. If you do what you normally would do, you win the game.
Wow.
Merry Chrysler.
Merry Christmas to you as well, Black Ninja DJ. With everybody at Grizz 901, me and Nate, but also everybody behind the scenes. Look at that. What is happening over there? Turn the lights on. I like that. That looks so much better. My God.
He is risen. He is risen indeed.
The Black Ninja DJ is a super chat, and we can afford electricity now. Shout out to Black Ninja DJ. But no, shout out to everybody here within the crew, just the OGs here hanging out. Thank you so much. This isn't something you have to do, I promise you, but I do appreciate every bit like this. So shout out to you, man. Always an OG. I'm trying a new thing. I'm in works right now on my other brand that we're doing. If I can somehow get a widget or two, we might be able to change some things we do up on the show. So we're working over there to change the way the show is done. And if everything goes as I hope, and we have planned on it going over there, then I might be able to figure out some things to help us over here. And I have a lot of stuff up my sleeve. So it'll happen not anytime soon, okay, because I don't want to put any expectations out there. But it'll happen as we go throughout the season if I can figure out a way to do it over here. If not, we'll figure out something. But it is going to involve the chat a lot. So, but thank you for that, Black Ninja DJ. But getting back to the game, man, it was I don't think it's a bad loss. I know that's been talked about a few times in the chat, just overall. But Edey, let's get it with him. He's had 14 rebounds. He didn't score a lot. It just looks like he does match up better against the bigger guys like a Zubac. He did look better against AD. It's the smaller guards that are a problem, or smaller bigs that are a problem for him, the more athletic ones. But my issue with him, big or small, he hasn't being able to move somebody the way he should be able to move somebody. And that's what I'm seeing with him is there's been no using his force or using his size to be able to dominate the paint like Steven Adams did.
Well, he's a rookie.
True.
I mean, it's just one of those things where sometimes you're a rookie going up against one of the best rebound. I mean, Zubac double doubles. By the way, just
Right.
bet it every night. Just bet it every night.
Zubac, yes.
For anyone who has to do prize picks, I bet on Zubac rebounds like every time because it's about one of the only props they have that tends to work, right? So sometimes you just got to remember he's a rookie trying to deal with that. I thought he still did well in the paint tonight. Scoring wise, it's the same thing. He's just not quick enough to get to what he needs to score at a high clip.
Yeah.
So it's not efficient enough. It's not quick enough for him to be able to do that. But defensively, I mean, what do you have? 4 blocks tonight?
I didn't pull that number up.
No. Yeah, 3 blocks. 3 blocks. There we go. So I was looking at Jaws lines.
Yeah, 3 blocks.
3 blocks tonight. He's, he did well in the paint. He rebounded really well. I'm not discouraged by it. You sit there and you say Zubac got 20 rebounds tonight, but then you look and see Edey got 14.
Yeah,
I think
I'm okay with the rebounds.
Yeah, I think defensively he's doing well. Also, it's just got growing pains as a rookie. Games like this are great for him. For a guy like Edey who is obsessed with learning, he's an obsessive competitor. Going against guys like that who you clearly don't have an answer for personally, or what makes you better. So I'm okay with that.
And just like this is, Edey getting that NBA strength. I call it the your man strength, right? When you kind of grow up, he has the size, but it's almost like a baby giraffe in a sense because he's so big. I'm gonna qualify him as a giraffe, but like he's trying to learn what his limbs are doing. Then like in college, he was so careful because they had to keep him on the floor in Purdue. And so he didn't want to push too many people around too much because everybody was a lot smaller there. He has to learn that he has size and how to use that size. I think that's what it comes down to because in the end, he is big, but he doesn't know how to use, how big he really is. And that's where it comes down to me is it's all about, I've said this a million times on this show, but it's about working early. If he puts in the work early in the play, depending on what he's planning on doing, then it'll pay off for him. There's no work going on in anything. When his rebounds, literally it's because he's big. That's the only reason. So if he learns his size, learns positioning, he'll be better off for sure.
Yeah, but he's got fight in him, and he's, like I said, an obsessive competitor. Like he's going to get it figured out. And he was hurt for a long time. It's not like he's been halfway through his first NBA season. He's like, a third quarter of the game's in, but it would normally be an NBA season.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I think the name is Astronomo. Yeah, well, I think it's close. Anyway, Edey can't dunk. I'm telling y'all, just try to dunk off 2 feet with 2 hands. It's crazy. So what he's saying is like, it's just like there's no athleticism to him. It's just like he's just straight up and down. He's Gumby, just like straight as a board, just dunking every time. And that is what he's doing. But he also is like, 7'4", so he doesn't have the athleticism. He's just a big goon. And so he's getting up and just dunking the ball. But it'll all come to him. It's just going to take some time. He's going to have to loosen up a little bit, kind of grow into his body and just kind of become a little bit more explosive, just like AC Cyril said. There's no explosiveness to him, right? It's all like just like I coach my daughter, and she's so good at basketball, but she has no idea that she's really good at basketball. But she's like, everything's slow twitch. And I'm like, I need fast twitch. I need you to move quicker and do quicker things. And she's never going to get it. But eventually, maybe she will. But right now, she does not. So that's exactly what I'm seeing right now is there's no fast twitch at all. And good old Edey. But anything else in that game that you saw that you kind of want to hit on?
One with Edey, he's going to figure it out. 2, I just literally looked at a stat that I thought was super interesting. If I told you that the Grizzlies, if I told you the Clippers were going to shoot 33% from 3 tonight, and the Grizzlies were going to shoot 38% from 3 tonight on 15 more attempts, what would you tell me happened in the game?
Oh, I think they win easy.
Yeah, like by a
because the points in the paint.
Yeah, by a landslide, right? So again, I think tonight just one of those nights. I think it's another reason to point to just one of those nights where you're back and forth with a good team. 9 times out of 10, you usually win that game.
Right.
It's going to be okay. There's one thing that's not just this game, but I want to talk about in a second. But
okay.
I thought you had something you were going to say.
No, I was going to say, Art brought this up, the jaw 360 layup. He's doing that now. It's like this third time. He did it twice in one game, and now he did it again tonight. Like, it's becoming a thing. And even with the offhand, so when he's spinning, I don't know if it, like, try it yourself, people. Okay. He's going up and he's spinning, but as he's spinning, he's got to throw the ball with English because you can't just throw that ball because it'll shoot off, right? So he's having to English it up against the backboard and drop it in, which is, it's crazy how good that is. And it looks normal. Like when he did it, it just looks like, oh, that didn't look that hard. I'm telling you, go try it at any gym with no defender and just try and see if you can get close. It's very hard because of the English off of the backwards kind of layup. It's very tough, but it's amazing what he's doing.
Yeah, try with no defender, no video, locker room with no one watching, and see how it goes. It's not easy, but he's the only dude who can say I'm going to stop dunking and get even more Sports Center highlights. He's nuts.
Yeah,
it's okay. Why would you want the number 2 view player in the league playing on Christmas? I don't know.
It's crazy.
But the only other thing, it's aside from this, it's not a major issue, but something I've noticed. Jaren's got his hands low again.
Dude, that guy, man.
Man, it's like one of those things where I'm like, you just see bigs all the time. They're just like, all they do is stick their hands up. No matter what they know, like, hey, it's hard to score over me. And he's like numero uno outside of Wemby. Hard to shoot over if his hands are up.
Yeah.
It's like Wemby and then
yeah.
Why is he going low again? He just can't help himself.
He can't. It's literally like putting your hand in the cookie jar. Like he literally can't help himself. And I don't understand why he wants to get the steal so bad that he's having to reach down and try to poke. And that's what I don't get is he can play his style of basketball without having to reach down, because if he's here, they have to get to there to do something, right? And so if you're going to shoot the ball, you have to get up. And so even if he would just keep his hands here and not just ever go down like that, I know it's very simple and I know it sounds stupid, but like literally he has to figure out a way to quit reaching down. If he quits reaching down, he'll be better off because of it. Because honestly, people will try him. People will try to shoot over him. And at that point, it's going to benefit him and he'll get more steals / some blocks. And so either way, you get the ball back. So he's got to stop that. I agree. It's stupidity.
And he's done a much better job this year of staying out of foul trouble in the past 2 years, honestly. So it's not like it's become a massive issue, but it just leads to these fouls that make where he can't be as aggressive at times he needs to be.
Yeah.
And gets him out of his rhythm. It's just little things like that I think can bite you. And
right.
So and it's so unnecessary. It can bite you. It's so unnecessary, just like all the turnovers. So this is one thing I'm like, man, gotta quit that. Gotta quit the turnovers.
Yeah. Well, overall, the Grizzlies do lose tonight, 114-110. And it was a game that did not look good. And we'll kind of keep going through the game a little bit more as we kind of look to the next game, but also as we do the Grizz trivia. But losing this game is not a terrible thing. It's a game that you need to win because these are the prove it points into the year. They'll have other instances, right? But if you can prove it in games like this, it is definitely going to be beneficial for you long term. But everybody's big on this fireside chats with Nate. The vibes, you're looking good. The crossed legs, man. You just look like your bedtime stories with Nate.
I'm sweating. It's hot.
I like it. All right. Well, as you all know, we talk and chat and break down the game just overall in the first half of the show. But then we get to King Meeks' favorite thing, and that is Grizz trivia. All right, let's get to Grizz trivia. Nate, are you excited? It's not going to be as long as the last one. Are you seeing? As I say, I'm trying to look at this. What just happened on my phone? My phone just completely just decided it hates me. Here we go. All right. All right. So the Grizzlies, and this is not counting tonight. So this is very much before the game because I don't do the stats prior, right? I don't do them afterwards. I do them prior because I'm not a procrastinator. I plan these way far out. That's not true. But the Grizzlies are outscoring opponents by 10.2 points per game, right? So the differential of plus 10.2. They are on pace to shatter the current full single season record by the Grizzlies of just plus 5.7. Nate, in Grizzlies, it is Grizzlies, but it's Memphis. In the Memphis Grizzlies franchise history, Nate, what season holds the record for the most point differential? So they are currently at 10.7. The record is, 10.2. The record is 5.7. Set back in what season? Nate is looking to phone a friend currently. He's looking through hanging out with his family and see if they can give him answers.
I'm going to go with what was the first or second?
Tiffany Taylor has an answer. Tiffany Taylor says
the first 2-seed season with this iteration.
Do I need to do the work for you to give you the answer?
I can't, because what was last year? 22-23. Right? So last year's 23-24 for in 24-25. So I'm going to go 21-22.
Nate is giving us a answer of 21-22. Miss Tiffany Taylor says 21-22. King Meeks, 21-22. I'm guessing this is 21-22 by Art. Nate, you and all your homies are correct. It was the year 21-22, the season 21-22. So shout out to you. That was the biggest thing. So as of current, it is 10.2.
Here's to the homies.
5.7 is the record. And so hopefully they're going to shatter that and keep playing the way they're playing right now.
All right. I went off. Shout out to the homies. Good Grizz trip. We had a bunch of good Grizz trivias this year. This has actually been a pretty good segment. It hasn't been as cheeks as last year. I do want to pull this up. Astronomo. This is the show for crash outs. I've been watching you in the chat the entire time. I'm sitting there like, we're going to let this guy crash out. Chat, let's welcome Astronomo in. Let's do what we need to do. Talk him off a ledge in the chat. Because I think we're kind of past the game at this point. We're not out on ED the way Astronomo is. Let's get Astronomo feeling better, chat. There's a massive crash out going on. I just want you to know we appreciate you, and you are seen, and you are known.
Ours says is Astronomo, the goon of Edie.
That's on a crash out going on. I'm telling you, I've just seen like probably 10 different things in the past 2 minutes. So I'm like, I appreciate it. I disagree, but I appreciate a good crash out. So
I love it. And in the very beginning, or I guess a few games ago, whenever things were bad, I don't remember what it was, but we always talked about potentially giving it where everybody has like a good 10 minutes of the show to completely just crash out and allow everybody to vent, get it out of your system, and then we'll get back to square one as we always do.
Exactly.
Look at this. Edie's a nice car that you don't want to drive because it'll break down every time.
See, I literally don't follow that comment at all, but I appreciate the fact that you put it in.
But my issue is, how's it a nice car that's going to break down? It's not a nice car.
Well, yes. But see, I don't follow along. But anyways, Astronomo, give us a like, get more people in here so we can all crash out together.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, thank you everybody for coming in here. I promise you, if you speak your mind, you better be able to wear it because we'll speak our mind back to you because that's what family does, especially right now. Everybody should understand that you're going to have a crazy person in the family. That crazy person better take it as well because you're allowed to speak back to them a little crazy. And so
I think I got my media training.
We welcome you in, Astronomo. No. Oh yeah, I don't know. Anyway. All right. So overall, the Grizz trivia, you've been killing it lately, man. So I'm excited that you're doing well. Even though I think you had a phone a friend. I'm not sure. There could have been a Google there.
Pinky promise, Scouts honor.
All right, but overall, I want to look at the next game, but I don't want to get there just yet. Is there anything else with this game tonight that you're interested in talking through? Because I do have one thing I want to bring up, but I want to make sure we put a bow on this. If there's anything else.
Only thing I'd be interested to see if it's the same thing you have. We gotta quit turning the ball over. There's certain turnovers that are part of the offense, and there's certain ones where guys just aren't paying attention, and you can't have both. It's the offense.
Yeah. Well, my biggest thing is, and Wayno was talking about this earlier. He's talking about guys like Jake and Santi, which we know he hates Santi. But the problem is, this is what you're bringing off the bench right now. And I understand we're going to have Vince, we're going to have GG back at some point. So the question that I'm going to loom is kind of close to his is, how do you upgrade this team? And are we going? I don't want to go in too much of the trade talks, too far, right? But how do you upgrade this team? I'm not looking at like a certain player. If you want to give me a player, great. But chat, if there is a spot, whether it's wing depth, whether it's wing shooting, or if you have a player that is exactly what you would want, whether you can trade for him or not, that's fine too. I'm looking for a direction, right? So I don't need it. I don't need Luke Kennard for Cam Johnson and 5 first picks. I don't need all that, right? That stuff will figure itself. I'm fine if you don't like Luke Kennard. I don't think he fits this team either. But I want to know the direction that you would help improve this team, because that's what I look at is how can you make this team better? And is it just getting GG and Vince back?
No, it's not just getting those guys back.
Okay.
It's getting those guys back, I think, is undersold because let's just pretend we haven't seen them at all this year because we barely saw Vince play. You don't know what you're getting. And listen, I know the talent of GG, and I know that we saw awesome things out of Vince. But, fair is fair. You're coming in a year where you want to win, and these guys are missing half the season.
Right.
You don't know what they're going to look like when they get back. You don't know what it's going to look like when they get in with this team and the rotation and the core as a whole. But you didn't see it. And that's not easy to just step back into it. They're uber talented. They should fit fine. I would be amazed if they don't. It's not a given that's going to happen. And the thing is, this is not a year where you're like, okay, let's develop and see what happens. You're trying to win now.
Right.
You were trying to win last year. It just all fell apart so early. So that is a big part of it. It's not a given. I do think the Grizzlies need to consolidate, and it's almost certainly going to be by the route of giving up Smart, Kennard, Laravia. A combination of that, if not all of them. And go ahead.
Who's off the table for you?
Ja, Jaren, Dez. I think you can't give up Wells, GG, Vince because you need the contracts.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely outplaying their contracts by far.
Right, and that's where I land with guys like Santi and not as much BC. I think BC does something so unique for you. It's hard to see you coming off of that contract, but he's not untouchable.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys outside of Josh, Aaron, and Dez, you just don't want to get those contracts because you need that to build out your roster at the end.
Right.
When you're paying all these other guys this other money. So you look at the mid to large contracts that you have, like a Luke, like a Marcus, and then a combo of guys who like Laravia is done amazing. He's an NBA rotation player. He has proven it. It's set. He's not a guy you're going to rely on in the playoffs.
100%.
Out of the wings you have, he's the one that can contribute in the regular season, but you're not going to rely on in the playoffs. You don't want to have to do that.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
But he's played well enough that you can use him as an actual valuable trade piece at this point.
Yep.
And for any Laravia lovers in here, this is not dishing on him. This is actually praising him. It's compared to the past couple of years for sure. But so you use those to upgrade, and you try and save valuable contracts like Asante, like a BC, Vince, Gigi, knowing that the more you start to form this roster and consolidate the wing position, even BCs and Asante's become available as well.
Right.
I do think the upgrade can look a lot of different ways, though. I'm more interested to talk about that.
About what?
What the upgrade could be. So I think you have a lot of routes to go to upgrade this team, which is exciting.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and no, King Meeks, I did not cry when Roddy played against us.
I did.
You were a bigger Roddy fan than I was. I liked Roddy. I thought he could do the little things during the regular season to help.
Yeah.
I still think he's that type of player. It's just we've gotten much better in those different areas. But my thing is how do you upgrade your top 8? And that's how I've always been like that, right? And so your top 8 includes a rookie currently in Wells who's playing fine. Like he's a guy that you could bring off the bench. He should probably be your 9th guy, in all honesty. Somebody that you could play during the playoffs if you need it to be a lockdown defender. But you're also going to get Vince back, and you might like Vince's defense over Jalen Wells at some point. I don't know. I'd like to see them both, be on the team to use both of them for the future. So I don't want to get rid of either one of those two. But my issue is like, how do you figure out how to upgrade that 8? And what do you need with the 8? You need shooting. You always need shooting, right? But my thing is you need a little bit of veteran leadership or somebody who's maybe been there, done that a little bit. And that's going to be tough to find because you got to be able to find somebody who is cool, calm under pressure, played in some playoff games. I don't need him to win a championship. I don't need that far. But I need to, cool, calm, played some tough games, proven himself, because you have to find another starter because it can't be Jalen Wells if you're expecting to really be a real contender, in my opinion. And it can't be Marcus Smart because he doesn't have the size that you really need to surround next to Ja. No matter how good Ja looks at times, Ja is moody. From what I'm seeing now, Ja is moody, and sometimes he's going to play, and he's going to be finer in the playoffs. But I'm just curious what they go get because you can't have Edie starting, in my opinion, in the playoffs either. I don't think that's a good matchup at all.
Jay Crowder?
No. I don't need somebody like that. God, no.
I'm kidding. I just want to see the all caps again. That's all I'm looking for.
Big boss fan. Nah.
Yeah, all caps. Boss man. I think you'd go get a guy like a Cam Johnson or something like that is a plenty fine move, but I don't think it's the only move, right? You could also go get, if it's out there, and again, this is why it's exciting, because the Grizzlies have enough to compete right now and contend right now. I do think they can contend.
Yeah, they can contend, yes, but I don't think they can't win a championship with this.
That's what I mean. Contending is for a championship, so I disagree with you on that. I think you can contend for a championship with the roster they have right now. 100% think they can. I think they are as talented as any other team. I think that they can go and beat any team. Now, luck has to fall your way. You got to be on the right hot streak to do it. That's every team.
Right. I agree.
Be on the hot streak. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree.
If you want to upgrade, you could go get a wing like a Cam Johnson or whoever. You could also, though, go and get like an elite rebounding big, paint big, screening big. Thinking guys like Zubac, Jared Allen. Now, I don't think you have any guys like that available. Right. But that's another upgrade that could help this team. So there's another avenue if it became available, we could do that. You could also not go get another starter. you could go land on a guy like I don't understand why people don't get excited about the idea of like a Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton is an awesome basketball player who you can put next to John Morant and plays like an absolute maniac, which I
Yep.
think you need that to win as well.
Well, you do get that with Vince as well.
Vince is not the scorer that Colin Sexton is.
No. I'm saying, but he's a maniac. But Sexton is small.
Yeah, but God forbid we have another maniac who can absolutely light it up at any given moment. Like that's like Colin Sexton backs down from no one. Right now, because you're so young and you're relying on young guys like Jalen Wells, you get a lot of guys who the lights can get too bright for them. And that's not a shade of them. They're rookies. They're young. But you get Colin Sexton, he's not backing down from anybody. So, but that's the thing. You go get a bench score like that. There's a lot of upgrades to be had.
Yeah, so, I agree. And Tiffany Taylor's on your side saying if healthy, they are absolute contenders, but that's the big if, though, it is the health. But there's so many things that you could do. Nick Richards is not who I want personally. John Collins is good. The only way you can get John Collins, or in my opinion, is you're planning on moving Jaren to the 5. Like, you have to go ahead and go with that, and I think they would look dynamite next to each other. I think they'd be great. I haven't looked at John Collins' contract. It's not terrible, I don't believe. It's I don't even know really what it is, but my opinion, yeah, look it up. But my opinion, I think he'd be good. But do we have enough faith in Jaren that he can stay? Or maybe this is the BC kind of, you go 2 different ways, that if it is a big team, then maybe you go with John Collins off the bench where you can go small. But at that point that's your BC issue. Can you play BC and John Collins next to each other? Yes, I do believe so. And so I think a guy like that would be fine. Jeremy Grant's fine too. Jeremy Grant's a scorer. I don't know if you need Jeremy Grant on a team like this. I like the score, but I think he needs the ball to be a scorer. And that might sound stupid. His usage rate needs to be, he needs to have the ball in his hands more to be effective in his role, for sure.
We need to get our guy Chris on for the John Collins argument. For anybody who doesn't know, Chris Ingram, Evan Hayes over on No Bluffing, they love him some John Collins. And that's just, listen, Chris has me sold on John Collins for sure. His contract's $25 per year, by the way. I don't know when I know it's a 5-year contract, but I don't know when the 5 years is up.
25 is nothing now.
21, 20, 25. But yeah, so I think you get him. It might be an expiring. Yep. I think he expires this year, but not sure. But either way, I could 100% get behind a John Collins, something like that. And that's the kind of that could be your kind of PJ Washington type move.
Yep.
Right? So in Utah's, if Danny Ainge is anything, he's a seller. So, so it's there to be had. But I think that's every time we have a loss, I come back to stuff like this. Like, there's so much to be excited about for this team.
100%.
It's another example.
When you're talking about upgrading, it's around the edges. You have your big 3, okay? Ja, Jaren, Bane, right? You have your nucleus of your team. People have been down on Bane. I'm not worried about Bane. Bane will be fine. He'll bounce back. The issue is like, how do you set them up perfectly? How do you set them up perfectly is you draft well, right? And you have these lower salary guys that are contributors. And that's what you're having right now. You have Santi Aldama, who has played really, really good. And a lot of people, hate on him. And I get it. He is a frustrating player, but that's why he's inconsistent, but that's why he's going to be a bench guy. But overall, you have pieces like Gigi and Vince and Jalen Wells and Edie and all these guys that are playing well over their value of their contract. Now is the time you go take that swing, whether it's a 2 years, 3 years, and maybe pay somebody and that fits your team. Because, just as Ashana Nomo says, Marcus Smart is a waste of $20 million. He is. And I like BC. BC's fine. But does he fit everything that you want to do? And so there's a lot of stuff to be had. But let's look at Keith brought up something about Clint Capella. I hate the thought of Clint Capella on this team. Gross.
I'm past it. If he doesn't look good with Trae Young, I don't think he's going to look good with John Morant.
Yeah. And yeah, as Wayno's saying, you only collect talent for so long. It's time to cash in. And I think that they're in their window. And they might not be the best version of himself this year. It might be next year. But you're going to have to pay Jaren at some point. So these guys are all going to get paid even more. And then you're going to, you're around the edges are a little rough. So my opinion would be, and Keith says is about the rebounding though. I get it, but they're a good rebounding team. I'm not worried about that much. I don't want to pay somebody that much just to get rebounds personally. I think Edie can figure that out enough. I think he'll get there to that point. But I think that there are pieces to be had. I'm curious which direction they go, but overall, I think we're set up really well.
Well, especially when I've seen our guy Keith talking about that John Collins number. You don't like the number until you figure out that all it takes is Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia to get that number met. Yep. You could throw in like a J-Huff or something, I guess. Listen, I'm trying to see all the Marcus Smart and then all the white dudes we have to send to Utah. I guess that's awesome.
Send all white people to Utah. Got it.
Yeah, send them all to Utah. Trust me, I live there. It fits the bill. But yeah, you could once you figure out that all you're doing is combining like Smart and LaRavia to make that number happen.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that contract doesn't seem so bad. Now, I will say Collins is expiring with a player option. You kind of want to be sure that you're not getting a rental at that point. If you're trading Smart, that contract's pretty valuable.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And Smart's valuable, dude. Like, Smart is not, I think, he's never going to be the perfect fit, but he's still a great winning basketball player, right? Yeah. Sometimes he turns into Dylan, but that's okay. Sure. He usually makes it a little bit more than Dylan did here. So,
yep. All right. That's enough about that. But Robbie Hockey's in here. What up? He does the weekend wager show with me at Driving the Line. So another better. I swept my 3 plays tonight, by the way. The ones I sent to you, swept again. I'm kind of on a hot streak right now. Don't tell anybody because then I'll go cold immediately. But I do not have a graphic tonight for you to look at, but I have the audio and I have a screen kind of saver in a sense. So I'm going to try this tonight and tell me if it sucks. You can speak up because you'll be able to speak over it. Tell me if it sucks. If for some reason you can't hear it. And at the chat, if you don't like it, I will end it. But it's 2 minutes long. It's the normal look ahead, but it's the audio only from our guy Ryan. And so I'm going to try this tonight just because I haven't been able to make a graphic or make anything for it. But I do have this. So let's go ahead and see if I can try it. And if I can, great for me. Well, I turned my phone off instead of hitting the volume. All right, here we go. Let's hear it from Ryan.
Here we go with another looking ahead to Thursday night's home matchup for the Grizzlies versus the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors are 7-22 this year. Yes, they do in fact stink. But here's the thing about the Toronto Raptors that's a little sneaky about. Road are an amazing 1-12, averaging 108.9, basically 109 points per game. So look, this is a team who is not very good, that has played a lot of close games against solid competition, but cannot actually finish them. So the Raptors have a lot of young players I like, names like Jonathan Mogbo, Scotty Barnes, Jamal Shedd, Jameson Battle. And they have a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. And you like that player, but they don't have that star that can put them over the edge. So they play a bunch of competitive games, but ultimately lose, which might be the plan for the draft pick. It just shows the importance of having a star player that can close games for you. And the Raptors just flat out do not have this. But What you're going to get out of the Raptors is a bunch of young guys trying to prove they belong in the NBA, so they will be scrappy. And even if the Grizzlies get them down 15 to 20 points, the Raptors are not a team that gives up. So they will continue to play and fight all the way through the game. So I expect the Grizzlies to build an early lead unless they have some sort of hangover from Christmas Day. I expect this to be an easy win for the Grizzlies. But if they sleepwalk a little bit, if they build a little bit of the lead, the Raptors are going to continue to compete and might make this another 7-point or below margin if the Grizzlies aren't careful.
Yeah, so first of all, sorry about that. I realized that when I took myself from behind that because it was a graphic for where he play. And so that's why I took us off of that. So you literally didn't miss anything. It was like 15 seconds of just Ryan talking about some just dumb stuff, probably. Who knows? Some dumb stuff. Who knows? But either way. So what he's saying is this is a team that is, a little underrated, but also can kind of come back for sure if you kind of get ahead of them. But I'm trying to look and see the last time they talked about it, and there is no planning in this at all. And so I do apologize on the look ahead tonight. But they did go up against the last time they played was a 125 to 139. Was this tonight against the Knicks?
Yep.
Okay. So just looking through this, 125, 139 is crazy number. Just overall. But Scotty Barnes is back. He hurt his ankle, but he is back. 24, 3 and 8. RJ Barrett, 23, 6 and 6. And then Grady Dick, who's been shooting decent, and he had 16 points tonight. Chris Boucher, I think it's Boucher. Is what I think is what his name is. 16 points tonight. He's a guy who's long and lean and kind of could be more athletic, right? And even Ashana Nomo. Boucher for Edie would be bod at work though. Not sure. No. We're glad to get you better at your commenting because I can't read that. But yeah, so overall, I think they're fine. They're a team just like Ryan was saying that if you get up early, you can kind of put them away and you can kind of run a nice game because they're not going to really stop you on the defensive end. So the Grizzlies are going to score. This is a game that betting wise, I'm going to look at the first half. If it's 68.5 by half, like points, I'm taking the Grizzlies or 58.5. I guess it's 58.5 is where their number usually is. So 58.5 is 30 points pretty much each quarter. For the first 2 quarters, and they've been doing that on a consistent basis. And so look at a first half for them to kind of jump out, especially at home, even though it is Christmas, but it is, the day after. And so they should be back to normal. So anything that you know about the Raptors that you're looking for?
No.
Not at all. You know their record.
It's not good.
7-23.
Yeah. This has not been my best league past year. I've not been able to keep up with as many teams I normally would. And to be honest, like the Raptors at this stage where it's like they're not even like there's nothing about I want to tune into a Raptors game for.
No.
They have decent players, right? They have RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. I can't believe I didn't realize they have Agbaji too.
Jakob Poeltl
at college. And Utah just dumped them.
Yeah.
And so Emmanuel Quickly, our guy Garrett Temple, I did know because the
God
was out there. They sent him to Toronto.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got a lot of trade fodder there. Got
sure.
Bruce Brown. That's about it.
Yeah, he's not playing, I don't think, right now. But the Raptors take on the Grizzlies Thursday, and then the Grizzlies play out, the back-to-back. So we will not have a Thursday night game or Thursday night show. We'll have a Friday show. I do believe we're going to try. I'm not sure if you're going to try to be or able to be on it or not. But Friday, are you going to be Friday?
Possibly, maybe.
All right, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out later. But Friday, we're going to try to have a show that's against the Pelicans, and then Sunday's Thunder, and then Tuesday we are not. That's the New Year's Eve game, and so we will have this show, and then Fridays we'll be back. So make sure you join us for that, and those will be the last games for this year. And after the holidays get over, we should go back to somewhat normalcy, having shows on a consistent basis. So it should not be that, but. Listen, we're going to take the time off for us. just overall. So we're going to make sure that, we do as many shows as we can, but we're still trying to make sure and dealing with our families, first overall, just like you all would. So, but that's it, man. Anything for Christmas? Anything you're looking forward to? I know that's kind of very stupid in general, and it's honestly, it's not about gifts anymore. The older we get in general, but is there anything that you're looking forward to for this Christmas at all?
I'm looking forward to genuinely having just some relaxing time with family. It's the first time we got to bring my son back to Tennessee to meet some of his grandparents and everything. So that'll be a lot of fun, but just good to slow down and be with family, man. It's good to relax, enjoy the time with people that we have close to us, because it's not always guaranteed. So
yeah, no doubt. That's very good. And as King Mick says, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, because it is about family. And so I agree with you there. Kind of slowing down and just kind of seeing life in a different perspective. It's Christmas. It's not like, oh my God, we need to change our entire life. No, it's just like, hey, it's good to enjoy the times. And that's why we take off the shows, is because we want to have the time to enjoy. Tonight was the time where we actually, we went and did family stuff, and we ran home and everybody went to bed because everybody's got, big days coming up. But looks like King Meeks is coming over. He said, coming at my house for Christmas. He put raisins in his potato salad. I hate potato salad. One, any pasta that's cold is disgusting. And if you like cold pasta, you're disgusting too. Just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Potato salad and pasta salad are not the same. You know this, right? This is important to me that you know this.
Pasta salad, potato salad are both cold, and they're both gross.
Okay, but
they're different.
Potatoes out of pasta.
Yeah, but potato, yes, there is a pasta in the potato salad, though.
What pasta?
I think so. Anyway, that's gross. Is it cold?
Like,
is it cold? Is it cold?
Potato salad.
It's cold.
Yeah, but it's not
gross.
Pasta. As long as you know that there's not.
They're not saying, they're just gross.
Potatoes not pasta. It's important to me that you know this. I'm not sure you've ever had potato salad, Daniel. And I'm starting.
I have, and it's gross. It's got a mayonnaise mixture, right?
Yeah, you've had the potato salad King Mix is referring to. There's good potato salad. There's good potato salad, and then it's all bad. It's either really good or really bad. I'm telling you.
Art says both are great.
I personally like both.
So. I hate both because I don't like cold. I'm weird, so I get that completely. But it looks like the chat has your back on that. Everybody loves potato salad. I know we're in the South, but Robert Barnett, I've not seen your name all night, chimes in. Triple J is the raisin and the Grizz salad.
Oh, come on. No. Why are we saying things like this?
I love that he hasn't spoken all night, I don't think, and then comes with just a flamethrower. That's my favorite.
No, why would we do that to him? No.
All right, I'm not gonna keep this going. This is getting off the rails, and I don't want to. I need to get out of here so I can actually go to bed. We have a big day tomorrow. But anyway, if you enjoy sports betting, I'm actually going to dress up as Buddy the Elf for our show in the morning. So I'm going to do the show as Buddy the Elf. It's at 9 a.m. It's driving the line, so it should be a good time. So I got to actually do my prep work and get all my stuff done for my betting stuff. But anyway, it's been a fun night. It's been a great night. I'm glad we did this. I was nervous that we weren't going to be able to do this. I know the show didn't actually go up on YouTube until very, very late. So I apologize about that. I weren't sure we were going to be able to do it. But either way, from Nate and I, from Grizz 901 as a whole, thank you so much for joining us. I know we say that a lot, but I just want everybody to understand this is a lot of fun that we get to have. And I know we're on screen. I know we're behind the mic. But honestly, we're just hanging out with all of you. And so thank you for spending your time with us. You could spend it with anybody else, or you could just honestly just go to bed or join a space that you might be able to talk into. So thank you for hanging out with us. We really do enjoy this, but we're in it for the long haul. We're here the rest of the season. And then it'll kind of get back to normal after we do the first of the year. But from Nate, from I, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. We'll see you all Friday night. At least I know I will. We'll see if Nate, what he's got going on. But that's all we got. Be nice and tell your friends.